I moved to this country when I was like 20, 21, 22. I
Mm-hmm.
never really worked in India, but there was this mindset of this is what I need to do at the workplace that I still
Yeah.
brought with me. I felt like there's a lot I needed to learn. The traditional mind that I brought, say 10 years ago, was you do the hard work
Yeah.
and you're going to get recognized for what you're doing. You don't have to do anything else but do the hard work. What I realized is that the people that are getting recognition or that are moving up or doing cool and exciting things in their career are doing much more than just doing the hard work.
Hey, this is Coach Mo Fall. I am an ex CEO, ex COO, and about to lay out the soul powered revolution. And you'll win in life by having your soul on fire. Hey everyone, it's Coach Mo. I'm here with another brilliant woman who is a client and a wonderful success story. Because why? Because she said yes to herself a few years ago. We were just talking about that. Shruti, welcome to Soul Powered Career Interview and Success Interview. I'm so happy to have you with me today because your story is inspiring. Why don't you introduce yourself to everyone who's watching and are listening, and then we'll talk about your personal story.
Great. Thank you, Mo. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here with you to talk about this program
Yeah,
and about myself too and what this has meant for me. So currently, I am a senior director in Microsoft. I have finished working in Microsoft for about 19 years,
yeah.
and I have experience also with other companies like the Blackstone Group of Companies and United Airlines. So primarily, I've been in the technology field. I have a master's degree in computer science. I'm very passionate about leveraging technology to improve lives of people around us.
Yeah.
And in my current role, I lead an organization of cloud solution architects. And I pretty much what I do day in and day out is I create and I sustain a culture of high performance. And I work very closely with our customers in transforming their businesses with all with Microsoft data and AI technologies.
Sounds super simple. You make it sound like, oh, it's just this and that. We know how high tech and how smart you are. And as smart as you are, and as smart as the woman who you know who also traveled through the career workshop with you, it's a different thing to navigate a career than it is to be excellent at your job.
100%. They're two different things. You're
Yeah,
absolutely right.
right. When you were sort of looking at the Coach Mo ads and whatever and clicking on, do you remember what was going on for you that prompted you to say, maybe if I had some experts in my corner, things might be a little bit easier for me?
Yeah, I think at some point you start to feel like, listen, I have worked really hard to be where I am,
Mm-hmm.
and I am still working very hard. But at the same time, it just feels a little bit like I'm still lost. And there's not a whole lot of clarity around where I personally was going in my career. It's not like I didn't have a great job, I didn't enjoy what
Yeah,
I was doing,
yeah,
but there was this feeling of not having a it's almost like a feeling of not being grounded for some reason
uh-huh.
around who you are,
Yeah,
what you're doing with intention and where you want to go. And I just remember feeling like, again, the thing that comes in my mind is I was just floating and not really grounded. And that was it was not a very sharp feeling. So again, it's not
mm-hmm.
like I woke up saying, oh, I need a career coaching, right? Like I
Yeah,
didn't wake up feeling that way,
yeah,
but definitely, like I couldn't put down like what would my next role be, what
mm-hmm.
do I want to do tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
where am I going in 6 months. Like
Yeah,
I couldn't answer any of these
yeah.
questions.
And you felt that there was something that you should be moving to next, like you felt that there was a step or an advancement that you should be getting.
Yes, more than like, hey, I need this promotion or I need this job. It was more around like I need to feel like there's some direction to my career. Like
Mm,
I don't like the feeling of just being in limbo of like,
yeah,
hey, everything is going great, blah blah blah,
right.
which is fine
Yeah,
for a lot of people. That's fine, but I feel like when I know where I'm going, why I'm doing what I'm doing, it
Hmm.
motivates me to show up strong every day.
Right, right. And so you're a very well educated woman. You're
Mhm.
obviously not a US native. We can put that on the table.
Correct.
Do you find that there was some disadvantages that maybe you were navigating that maybe you knew or you didn't know because of non-American, non-white, let's call it all that status? Do you feel like there was something else there that was at play?
100%. And I think part of that is, I think my historic or the traditional mind that I brought, say, 10 years ago was, okay, you do the hard work
Yeah,
and hey, you're going to get recognized for what you're doing. You don't have to do anything else but do the hard work, right?
right.
But then as I worked in these various organizations and these various companies, what I realized is that the people that are getting recognition or that are moving up or doing cool and exciting things in their career are doing much more than just doing the hard work.
Yeah.
Yes, it's working smart. Yes, you can do all of those things by working smarter. But there's a lot of things that you need to build as part of your brand and how you show up. It's almost the intangibles, but when you are looked at for a promotion or when you're looked at for that next career opportunity, it is the intangibles that differentiates you. And so really I would say just either my growing up, like you said, I moved to this country when I was like 20, 21, 22. I
Hmm.
never really worked in India, but there was this mindset of this is what I need to do at the workplace that I still
Yeah.
brought with me,
Right.
that I felt like there's a lot I needed to learn, and not even say having 10, 15 years of experience here in this country. Even then I felt like I didn't know what it takes, right?
Hmm.
There
Hmm.
was so much more learning that I needed to do. I'm still learning today, but
Right.
there was a shift that happened that I
Yeah.
was not aware of.
Right. What were some of the early things that you learned through the coaching as first of all, you made a powerful decision to say, you know what? I need experts on my team. And this ungroundedness, this not sure what my directional level is,
Mhm.
and people are getting ahead who don't know as much as me. What were some of the, and look, all women, colored, white, whatever, have that experience. What were some of the things that you began to take in from the coaching?
First of all, like I felt supported in my career for the first time in my life. Like
Mm,
I have never felt that level of support, whether it was in the one-on-one conversations, even during the clarity call. Like I felt like somebody on the other end of the phone really understood what I'm going through as a
yeah.
career woman. So the support is just, it just blew me away. Like 100, even if there was not even any tangible outcomes from the program, which there were, for me going through the process, I felt, wow, I was felt like, oh my gosh, what have I been missing? Like how did
Right.
I get here,
Yeah, yeah.
without all of this support? And what does true support look like for a woman in the
Mm,
workplace?
right.
So that for me, that was a very big standout.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you progressed through the workshop, so we have a 12-week workshop, as you know, starts with a clarity call. And we don't know that we can work with everyone. So the clarity call is important to understand if what's going on is something we can help with. You're at the same company.
Yes.
So some people will be like, well, she didn't get a new job or whatever. But
Yeah.
there were things that not only you noticed that were feeling different and more powerful. What was going on with your coworkers or people that know you?
Yeah, Mo, I think it's a great question because number one, I did see a promotion. It must have been about 3 months after I finished the initial coaching
Hmm. Yep.
program, the 12-week program.
Yep.
And I felt that it's not only just the energy that I brought to my work changed, but also my boss started to notice, my coworkers started to notice it,
Mhm.
but the people that work for me started to notice it. They're like, oh my gosh, Shruti, you're on fire. Like that was like one of the
Uh-huh.
quotes that I
Yeah,
got.
yeah.
And people just see you in a very different light, because I think end of the day, for me, the other biggest differentiator with this program is that it's not about the what you do, because the what you can learn, I think, on your own, on different programs, etc.
Right.
But it gets to the source of the underlying like human psychology, the energy, like the
Mhm.
soul work, so to speak.
Yep.
And when you do that, that gets to the heart of everything that drives you at work, right? Then everything else becomes like, it just happens. It also almost like magic.
Yes.
Once you light up that inner light,
Yep.
then everything else just, it's like catching fire, right? So it becomes that huge catalyst.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
would say people started to notice, I started to notice things, and yeah, it was really different, and it's not like, oh, you finish the program and that light sort of like goes away. You have to find ways to, stay connected with the
Yeah.
community and keep yourself going. So it's, there's a lot of these calls that happen, right? And you can be plugged into it. You're part of the
Yeah.
group on Facebook. You can
Yep.
interact with other women out there. So there's just a lot that you can stay connected even outside of the program.
Yeah. I want to draw a particular distinction between working hard
Okay.
causes you to be seen, not you necessarily you, Shruti, but you as a professional woman. Working hard and doing the doing sort of causes you to be not only invisible in one hand, but also not seen as someone who can be promoted because they want you to stay working hard. I mean, if you're doing great work, they're like, let's keep Shruti doing all this stuff because who's going to replace her? And so you begin to sort of be cast in a certain way.
Hmm.
And then as you bring your soul light forward, you start to really understand that you have power and that you have the ability to be that next level of version of you. You start to be seen differently. People were noticing the difference. And now people are responding differently. And now you're not just a hard worker, you're someone who, oh, yeah, she really gets stuff done. Oh, yeah, she could be a great, like you said, catalyst to this team. Oh, let's put her in charge of this. Oh, let's get her a promotion so she can have more impact. How has that growth been for you as far as, I don't know, has it enhanced how you feel about yourself? Has it enhanced how you live your life? What other ways has it enhanced you?
Yeah, I mean, I think a big part of that for me has been, yes, so there's the work. I mean, never really stop working hard. I think as a career woman, that like let's
Yes,
just put that
sure,
out there, right? Like there is
absolutely,
that, and then
exactly.
there's the
Yeah,
working smart. All of that is important. But also, I think the thing that struck with me is around perception, and it's around the brand.
yeah,
And that perception happens even within the career coaching program more because you talk to your coaches, right? You talk to the group calls, and there's a lot of feedback you get.
hmm,
And so you in your head you're thinking one thing, but then when you hear your coach say one thing, you say another thing,
yeah,
and you get pushback or you get challenged, and then you're like, oh yeah, like I never had this conversation with anybody, nobody challenged me, and so I
hmm,
didn't know how I was coming across. But now I have renewed perception of how people around me
yeah,
look at me,
yes,
how do they interpret me, what's the brand I'm building.
hmm,
So there's a lot of power to that. And now I'm very aware of what is the brand? Like, what is the brand when people work with me? What is the perception they
hmm,
have?
hmm,
And I think it's no matter what job you're in, I think it's important. Yes, do the hard work, but who else in your company or on your team can speak to the work that you have done? Not just
yes,
know the work that you have done, like knowing is
yes,
different,
right,
but can they articulate in like 3 or 4 bullets what you've impacted?
yes,
And if you have not gotten that out of your interactions over like 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, whatever, then you're not really doing your job. So that to
right,
me was the biggest discovery.
hmm,
And going through this program, you can keep adding more and more like tools in your tool belt to navigate that
yes,
branding and that perception. It is your literally your everyday reality. And so
right.
I know it's not spoken about directly in the program as like that's like a takeaway, but for me that was huge.
Right.
That was huge. Yeah.
When you're able to articulate to others what you've brought to the table, what you have accomplished in a way that feels in alignment with you, you're not, obviously you were raised to be polite and considerate and not to brag about yourself, which is what I think is a difficulty for all, almost all women, is to
Mhm.
speak of your achievements and accomplishments in a way that other people, like you said, can basically take that to the next meeting
Mhm.
and say, oh, Shruti, this, that, and the other thing. If you aren't able to initiate that conversation or bring up those bullet points, someone else isn't going to make them up for themselves. So, and you, as you know, this is like the second thing we do is to help all of the women who we work with focus on their accomplishments in a way that is bullet pointed, it is specific, it is clear, so
Mhm.
that whether you're interviewing, promoting, getting a promotion, talking to colleagues, you're able to specifically say these things. This is not a natural avenue for women to say, yeah,
Yeah.
I led our team to accomplish this. Yeah, we were able to achieve that project ahead of time. So all of that brought you to a place where people saw you differently.
100%.
And now you're enjoying a promotion. And as you know, I've been doing this work for over 10 years with professional women. We have developed advanced other types of programs because as our clients get into promotions and that sort of thing, there's another skill set, there's leadership, there's this, there's that. You attended one of our advanced programs
Mhm.
and it was specifically on enhancing leadership and influence and impact through communication. And anyone watching this or listening to this interview is probably thinking, that woman's a great communicator. And you are in many ways, but share what you learned and the distinctions that you were able to gain through some of that advanced coaching in our soul power
Oh my
communicator.
gosh. It totally was a game changer. Like I was even like, we were chit-chatting a little bit before this call officially started, and I would love to come back and do that again, that program again as a refresher, because
Hmm.
it's a muscle that gets strong and then you
Yeah.
could like not train it and it could get weak. And so you want to always keep that communication very sharp. And I feel like I've worked on communication pretty much all my whole work life, but
Sure.
then to have a super focused point of view and have like you and your coaches through that program and practice,
Yes.
and oh my god, the videos that you guys shared,
Yeah.
I mean, it was phenomenal. Like
Yeah.
it was, and it's very specifically focused on women,
Hmm.
and how women communicate,
Yep.
which you don't really get in any other coaching program.
Right.
So it was very unique. It was amazing coaching. It was also very experiential because you learn by practicing. So
Hmm.
you're getting like coached and you're getting like feedback. You get to be on the spotlight a little bit,
Hmm.
and you put yourself out there. So
Hmm.
there's nothing that works better than by learning by doing,
Yep.
and this allows you to do that. So it
Yep.
is by far one of the best programs I've ever been part of, ever. Like, so I highly recommend that
Yeah,
program.
yeah. And it's funny because as you know, it's probably difficult for anyone who isn't in the experience of what I call the sacred circle. So even in the 12-week coaching, it's sacred. It's private, it's confidential, it's safe. And there's things that are shared there that many women haven't ever talked out loud about. And moving through some of those hidden things that we carry with us takes you to the next level. But then when we went into the soul power communication coaching, we're literally, as you mentioned, having you present in front of everyone else who's in that and giving you real-time feedback, as well as you watching the presentation of others and them getting real-time feedback. And even if you didn't do something that that person did and they got coached on it, you're like learning from all of the, not only the challenges and variations, but also their successes. Like, oh, that's the way that that works
Mhm.
better. Oh, that's the way to do that. I got to say, your ability to implement and integrate things has been a big part of how you were able to take the coaching and really apply it for your own success. What do you own that to? What do you own your ability to basically integrate and take the coaching and make it work for you?
Yeah. I think just a part of my DNA is to be a continuous learner and to be continuously improving.
Yeah.
So I'm always doing that, whether that's with my team or with my business. It
Hmm.
doesn't have to be perfect, but if you're better than yesterday, if
Yeah.
25 is better than 24, then it's success to me, right? So just
Yeah.
you keep building on that.
Yeah.
I am always hungry to learn. I'm just like, if you can give me feedback that makes me more impactful, like I love it. I want that. And so I'm an always a learner, and it allows me to be humble because I think you can be very, like, you can sit back and say, yeah, I've been in this company for so long, and like I've learned the tips and tricks of the trade, and I feel like I know the stuff, and
Hmm.
yeah, it's easy now, I can just coast. But no, like everything is changing, customers change, business climates change, and
Yes.
the job changes now, AI is changing everything. So
Yes.
it's like, okay, let's learn. And it's not always the technical or the what you're doing, it's also the how, and learning from others that you described is also a big part of like my personal philosophy. And so I think, yeah, that's where that comes from. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get more motivated and more inspired if I do more learning.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah.
Yeah. It lights up the brain in a very positive place. As you know from knowing me a little bit and having been through some coaching, I'm very upfront with the fact that women of color, Indian women, African American, Hispanic, Chinese women, every shade in between, are at some extra disadvantages in the workplace. We don't have to check any references to understand that we're still working in a sexist and racist environment and navigating it. My goal is to help women win so that we can see a new normal, what it looks like for women to be in power, how we're different at it, and express the talents and gifts that women have in a bigger way. What are some special things that you would say to other Indian women
Mm,
about what you've learned in navigating your power and being seen in a bigger way that has been most gratifying for you?
yeah. I think for first of all is, don't wait for, somebody else to come and tell you this is what you need to be
Mm.
doing for yourself. It will never happen. It will never happen because we could be in the situation where we're delivering exceptional work. And, we talked about this before even we started recording,
Yeah.
right? That's
Yep.
what people are going to expect of you, and you're going to be status quo. Like,
Yeah.
you'll never get outside of that. So, number one is, don't wait for you to be recognized, somebody to tap you on your shoulder, a friend to come and tell you, hey, have you thought about this? That will never happen, right? Like, you have to decide that. And the way I look at it is, we could all be, as women, you could be caretakers, you could be home, like either be a homemaker, you could,
Hmm.
if you have kids, you can be full time taking care of your kids. You could be outside of the work field altogether if you have a partner, if you have parents that can support you financially. I just say, like, from choosing to be a caretaker, you have chosen to be in the workplace. Like, you've made that choice for yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
You could be doing so many other things in your life. You could be an artist, you could be other creative things, but you've decided for yourself you're going to be in the workplace, you're going to show up, you're going to do this. When you're already doing all of that, it behooves you to make sure that you feel like you can get the support that you need to be successful.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, nobody is going to do that. Your boss may not do it, your coworkers may not
Right.
do it, your siblings, your parents, your spouse, your partner, your friends, nobody's going to do it.
Yeah.
So it's you. Like, you wake up, you decide for yourself, like, I am basically busting this life day in and day out doing all of these things.
Right.
you know how do I make sure that I show up fully in a way that makes me feel like this is worth it? And that only happens if you decide for yourself, like, you're going to start making those changes for yourself, whether that's
Mhm.
investing in yourself, identifying what you want to do for your own
Right.
development
Yeah.
is all in your hands. Don't
Yeah.
wait for anybody
Yeah.
else.
And that's not a normal sociological message for an Indian woman to take their lives in their own hands.
I would say I've seen people, even still, if they take their lives in their own hands, they don't look at investing in themselves or
Uh-huh.
in their development
Yeah. Yeah.
as a like this is essential for me. They think
Right.
of that as like, oh, it's a nice to have, maybe it's for somebody else, maybe it's for
Uh-huh.
people who have like the means, or
Yeah.
who, they don't prioritize, they may not prioritize themselves. So that,
Yes.
I think that's an important
Right.
caveat. Yeah.
Right. And speaking of that, who else is winning because you're now this more powerful, better version of yourself? I mean, it's not just you winning here.
100%. I think that when you empower a woman, you empower, like, it's pretty much everybody the woman gets comes into contact with, right? It could be at the workplace, like the
Mhm.
business is impacted positively, the
Yeah.
team is impacted
Yeah.
positively, the company is impacted positively. More diversity means the companies are making more money, they're more
Yep.
successful.
Yep.
It means like at the home front you show up differently because you feel like, hey, I'm empowered to make the choices that is
Hmm.
right for me and my family.
Hmm.
You make better decisions, when you're buying things and you feel
Hmm.
like, okay, I've learned that this doesn't work for me, I'm going to advocate for myself. And it could be you're going to go see a doctor because your child is sick or you're sick,
Yes.
but you don't just like take what the system gives you. You're saying now, like, no, but I need this. Like, you're so much more
Yeah.
different in every phase of your life.
Hmm.
And I think at some point, like, women also start to then think about, how do I impact the community,
Yeah.
right? And how do I
Mhm.
show up differently in the community that I'm part of? And so
Yes.
it is much more than just work and home. It's also around you and the societal impact.
Yeah. As you're talking about that, we just had one of our executive circle sessions last night, and one of the women there who has been in the advanced programs for probably 6 or 7 years now has a very disabled son. And several years ago, she took matters into her own hands because he wasn't getting the support at the school that he was at. And she literally put him in a different school and took control of interviewing schools. And she said, I would have never done that. And I was
Wow.
frustrated with how he wasn't progressing or what he wasn't getting, but I didn't feel that I could take charge of that fully. And she decided to do that years ago. And now her son has been thriving for many years in this different school. And at that same call with those same executive women, one of the women said, and as mundane as this is, she basically turned a mattress back in because it wasn't what she expected. And she said, as silly as that sounds, I wouldn't have done that in the past.
See?
I would have kept this mattress that, mattresses are thousands of dollars. We're not talking
Mhm.
about, a pair of shoes, but even that, she's like, I literally now know that if something is not the way it should be for me, I'm going to take agency and advocate for myself. And,
Yeah.
those are obviously bigger differences on the spectrum. But I think you're right. When women win, when women are in their power, everyone around them wins.
Mm.
Everyone gets the benefit of a strong, powerful decision maker, someone with heart and soul who can see, their way through everything from a mattress to education for their son who needs special needs. What would you say to that woman who's listening to this and she's like, I don't know if I want to book that clarity call. I don't know if this is for real. Like, what would you say to her?
Yeah. I have 4 words. Basically, you are worth it. That's it. And this, yeah, there ends my case, right? Like, you are worth it. And if there's one other thing, the other advice that I would give people, I know it's not very, it's not as like a punchline, like you are worth it. But the other thing that I tell people is that, listen, you have to find some way to connect with you and the program and the coaches and what you're sharing, the messaging that you're giving, because there is work you have to put into the program. It's not
Yes.
like, oh,
Yes.
teach me everything and then I'm good to go, right? Like, it's
Right.
not that.
Yes.
Because there's work involved. If it sounds like Greek and Latin and you're just not in the right space to take action and to make changes, then don't do it. Save
Right.
everybody their
Yes.
time and energy,
Right.
right?
Yep.
But find that connection, that common ground, and stay committed, and then tell yourself you are worth it. Because I feel like, listen, you could be early in career, you could be late in career. It doesn't matter what stage in your career you are, but you are worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You work in a big organization, and on a go forward, things are getting more complex. You of course mentioned the word AI, and it triggers all sorts of things in people. I personally love where we can enhance a lot of things with the proper use of that. We're in a volatile, volatile workplace. People are being laid off hither and yon in ways that companies didn't used to do. What's the one thing that you have in your toolkit now, no matter what happens, that you got this? What's that thing that you feel I'm good?
I feel like you think it goes back to the learn it all mindset.
Mm.
My the CEO of my company, he says that, you can be either know it alls, like I know it all, or you can be a learn it all. And
Love that.
he wants us to follow like what's called the growth mindset. Carol Dweck wrote this great book with this great principle around having the growth mindset.
Yes.
And so as long as I feel like, hey, like I can be a learn it all, right? Like I want to learn and I want to continue to grow myself,
Yeah.
then the world is your oyster, because no
Yes.
matter where you start, right, where you go back to where your starting point is, whether it's your current job, like, hey, I get laid off and you have to go find something else, you
Yeah.
learn it. It
Yeah.
takes. So yesterday I downloaded this app that says, hey, you can learn an AI tool in 1 month to go make money on your own, like be an entrepreneur and create like digital content and all with AI, right? Like in
Yep.
1 month, they're saying we can take you to from zero to knowledge that can get you money, making money, right? And
Hmm.
there's power to that. So you can
Yes.
start
A lot of
from
power.
scratch, and as long as
Yes.
you're willing to learn,
Yeah.
I think you're in good shape. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you completely. The learning growth mindset is a life insurance policy.
Hmm.
You're never going to be out of options when that's your
100%.
attitude in life.
Yeah.
Your soul is definitely shining bright, Shruti. It has been a pleasure working with you for the two segments that we got a chance to do that. I know we'll work again together, and I really appreciate you sharing your journey and how the coaching has impacted your career and your life, because there are other women who need to hear the stories and the true journey, the honest true journey of what it's like to be coached and pull toward your greatness. And whether it's being coached with my team and I want every woman to feel the way that you feel, that you have your own agency,
Yeah.
your own power, your own decision making, and your own dog.
I know. I know. But I would say, like, that intent that you have has been very clear. I think the reason pretty much, I think, scheduled the clarity call is because, like, your ad showed up in Facebook. And it's so funny. Like, your energy spoke to me through that ad. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I have to go speak with this person on this program, find out
Yeah,
what this is about. So,
yeah.
like, we hear you, we feel you. So thank you so much, and yeah, keep doing the good work, because it is
Yes.
great work. We need it,
Yeah,
and such a great impact.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you.
much for sharing your story, and really have a fantastic year this year. I know you will.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you. Such a pleasure.
Yeah.
You as well.
Thank you. Folks,
Have a
if
good
you
one.
want to have the same type of career and journey that Shruti has had, and that over 2,000 other women over the past 10 years, it starts with the clarity call. And that is www.mofall.com/talk. And we get started just understanding what's going on to see if we can help. And if we can, you can be another great success story like Shruti. Thanks again, Shruti, so much for sharing your story. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Everything that women face in the corporate world, in life actually, can be counterattacked, counteropposed by a woman's powerful internal sense of being. And I call that your soul power. I want to help more women understand their soul power, and I want to create a soul-powered revolution. This is Coach Mo, mofaul.com.